Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. So today we're going to be doing a little guide for Dark Souls 3. So it's been quite a while since I've done one of these, but a lot of people have been asking me about this. I did a really similar video on Bloodborne, but even if you have watched that one, I do recommend watching this one as well, because I do extend it a bit for something I didn't mention on Bloodborne. But anyway, today we're going to be explaining how exactly does weapon scaling work on Dark Souls 3. So let's start with the basics. So down here we have strength, dexterity, intelligence and faith. And obviously each one of those can have a certain letter depending on what weapon it is. So in this case we're using the XL Greatsword at plus 10, which has C and C scaling on strength and dex. So apart from that, we do need to associate these attributes or stats to the type of weapon damage a weapon can have. So obviously strength and dex goes to physical damage, intelligence goes to magic, intelligence and faith goes to fire damage, faith goes to lightning damage. The lowest of intelligence and faith goes to dark. So for instance, you've got 15 intelligence and 40 faith, then it would scale with the lowest, which would be intelligence, which would be 15. So yeah, so that is how they associate themselves with the different types of damage. So obviously if we're looking at a weapon that scales S with intelligence, then obviously we're going to be seeing a lot of bonus magic damage. Same as if we see it with a lot of strength or dex, we're going to see a lot of bonus physical damage, kind of like in this case with the XL Greatsword. But how exactly do we get that bonus damage? So this depends on a few things. So the exact formula, what we're going to have to do is it all depends on the base damage. With no base damage, we're not going to get any bonus damage because it all depends on the base damage. Okay, so how this works. So I'm just quickly going to leave up here how much percentage of the base damage we get into bonus damage depending on the letter. So obviously S is highest to D and E, which is pretty much useless. Okay, so let's go with the XL Greatsword. So as you can see by the percentages, just because it scales C with something doesn't mean it has an exact percentage of what we're going to be getting. So it could be anywhere in between 45% or 60%. It's not a big difference, but maybe C with this weapon and C with a different weapon can change slightly, the same as with any other letter. But anyway, say we have C scaling with strength and dex, kind of like we do right now. But let's just ignore the dex and go with strength anyway. Just imagine it didn't scale with dex, just to make things a bit simpler. So the first thing we're going to do is grab the base damage, which is 292. Obviously that depends on the weapon completely. Don't matter what your stats are and how much it scales, the base damage does nothing to do with that. Every weapon's always going to have a base damage, just depending on what weapon or what level the weapon is. So in this case the weapon has a base damage of 292, and what we're going to do is, like I said before, say it scales C with strength. So C would be anywhere in between 45% and 60% of that base damage. And the simple way to put it is that we would just get that percentage and calculate it and put it in as bonus damage. That's pretty much the simple way of getting the bonus damage. Then you'd probably be asking, well, where is it then, for instance, where my 40 strength comes in or my 50 strength? Where does all that come in? And that's where this would come in right now. So from this previous bonus damage that we calculated, we only get a certain percentage of that depending on how high we've leveled that stat up. So in this case, strength, for instance, we've got at 40. Then I'm just going to quickly leave it on the screen the percentages we can get, or we do get, of that temporary bonus damage that I calculated earlier. We're only going to get a percentage of that depending on our stat. Obviously these numbers I'm putting on screen don't mean that from level 26 to 50 we're only going to get 85% all the way through those levels. I mean in between level 26 and 50 we're going to go all the way from 50 to 85. It's just so you can get a proximity. So as you can see, we can definitely tell the soft cap. So just from level 0 to 25 on strength, we already have like 50%. We already have halfway. That would be the soft cap. Then obviously at 85% we have the hard cap, because you can see like anywhere from 51 to 99 in all that strand of levels, we're only going to get an extra 15% But obviously, if we want the 100%, if we wanted to convert that previous bonus damage to be the real bonus damage, then we'd have to have it at 99 to have the 100%. But yeah, so really the formula would be, depending on the letter, we get that percentage from the base damage, calculate that to be a temporary bonus damage, and then we get a certain percentage of that temporary bonus damage to convert it into the real bonus damage, depending on how high we have leveled that stat up. So in this case, we'd obviously, if it was only by strength, since we're only level 40 strength, then we'd be getting a bit less than it actually shows on screen. But since it does the exact same for Dex, then yeah, that's why we got so much bonus damage. So yeah, guys, hopefully this was helpful for everybody that's been asking me about weapon scaling on Dark Souls 3. Hopefully this clears things up at least a little bit. And yeah, either way, once you're playing the game, it's just like, oh look, this scale is really good with this, let's level that up, and I'm sure it'll work out well. But yeah, this just so you know a bit about the math behind it and how it works. So yeah, guys, if this was helpful, please go like and subscribe. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter. You can support the channel more directly on Patreon, which is much appreciated, and we'll see you next video, guys.